Erich Gail, Cardinelli Group, take one. Okay, hi, this is Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dog, and we're broadcasting live. I've got to do a little housekeeping before we get started here, so let's see what we got. We'll be sure that I got this thing set on public so everybody can see it. And I got my guest, Erich Gail, all lined up. We are so ready to rock. Everything is exciting. Okay, Erich, I just made this public. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, the #1 e-dealer group in the country, the Cardinelli Group, Erich, is it Erich K. Gail? Is that Klaus?
It is actually.
James Klaus told me that. He said, you wouldn't believe it. Gail's name is Klaus. I said, no.
Yeah, as soon as I met him a couple of years ago, we were brothers from the beginning.
I love it. Well, Erich, tell us a little bit about where you're from, what you are one of the featured speakers at Internet Battle Plan.
Yeah, Jim, we are so pleased and proud to be a part of it. And in that vein, I am blessed to lead the Cardinelli Group of companies, which is a collection of now 8 automotive-centric firms anchored by our automotive group. We're blessed with 19 locations within California, Arizona, and Nevada. And in addition, we have a collection of companies that serve and support us as a retailer first and foremost. And when they've done that, Jim, and they've grown up, we let them go outside of our competing market areas and work with other dealers. But we're glad to be here this morning and really look forward to coming to Florida and participating and helping to support the Internet Battle Plan. So thank you.
Internet Battle Plan 23. We started doing these in 2007. And it's amazing. The very first one was me and David Kane and Darren Haygood.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was our very first Internet Battle Plan. We sort of concepted it there. And then I did a couple with Sean Bradley, and then I went on to do some other ones. But yeah, 23, unbelievable. And 2007, 2008, you started the company when, 2008?
We were reborn in 2010. The company was founded in 1979, Jim, and organically we grew throughout the 80s and the 90s and half of 2000. Much as great dealers have done in the past, we were handshake guys. We started with what was an Oldsmobile Pontiac GMC franchise on the Monterey Peninsula in California in 1979. We've all seen what has happened since then with Pontiac and Oldsmobile, so we are now one of the last single-point GMC dealers in the country. But through the 80s and through the 90s and half of 2000, we grew to what was 12 locations, found ourselves rich and good-looking just about the time when 2008 decided to cut the bottom of the bag and let it all go out.
Oh, man, 2008 was a struggle. That's when I laid off all my employees and closed my offices.
Yeah.
I lost $1 million real money in 2008. I mean, not accounting, real money.
Right. Yeah.
And I wasn't broke by any means, but I was gushing money out of every artery, and so were all the dealers.
Yeah. Well, we were one of them, Jim. We found ourselves in a position where in 2007, we were built not for where we are, we were built for where we're going. The problem is, none of us saw what was around the next corner. And so we found ourselves in the position to have to cut to survive. We were completely and totally insolvent. We bled out in 2009, losing in one 30-day period 6 franchises and a few hundred employees. So when you asked the question,
you were suffering.
We were absolutely insolvent. Jim, we were out of business. I mean, by every stretch of the imagination, we were in a place that if it were not for the grace of God, we would not have survived today. And that is,
tell you, Erich, we are entering another slowdown right now. The market is contracting, and it's not going to be 2008 again, but we've had 5 prosperous years. We've sold 60 million cars, new and used, and we're cramming that in. 84-month financing is, right now, everybody's got a car, wants a car's got one. And you're going to have to be better than you used to be to stay where you were. I mean, so dealers have either got to grow or die, crush or be crushed, take that business away from a competitor who is plotting to take that business away from you. It's contracting, but it doesn't mean you have to slow down.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Jim. We are seeing the same ills that we saw a decade ago. And the truth is, the sword is sharp and the line will be absolute in those who have and those who have not. And our truth is that we will never again, Jim, be subjected to the market like we were back in 07, 08, 09. The reason I say that is because we focus on being a management-driven organization, not a market-driven organization.
Okay, now I've heard you use that term over and over again, management-driven. And of course, you know, I come from a management background. I'm not a sales trainer, I'm a management trainer. So I fully understand, but explain management-driven.
Jim, management-driven reflects the complete and total opposite of a market-driven culture, a market-driven leadership philosophy, in that if we only focus on the market, if the market is up, we need more stuff, more people, more widgets, more stores, more infrastructure, more cost, more bloat. Our truth is, as a management-driven organization, we will define our goals upfront, very clear with net to gross goals, every department, every store, every region, every state. We will not come off of them ever, and we will build our operation to grow based upon the opportunities that present themselves, in that if the market is down and others are cutting, we're not touching anything. We're continuing to grow because our disciplines were seated around our slowest month in a 6-month period. So we never find ourselves in a position to have to worry. We have built for this moment, Jim, for years. And I assure you that while we have been on a progressive growth over the last 8 years, that will only continue to accelerate in the very near future. There's a lot of exciting things that will come from our group in the next year or two.
One thing I got to tell you, Eric, is the storm is coming. And there's a lot of dealers that are like the little pig that built his house out of straw.
Yeah.
And they're not prepared for what's coming. And technology is the battlefield.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jim. And where we're finding ourselves, and this is what we're going to talk about extensively at Internet Battle Plan, where we find ourselves is the more technologically savvy, the more advanced, the more integrated we become. The question to us as the dealer and as the operator, are we becoming weaker the more connected we get? Are our disciplines becoming soft? Are our people such that if we're targeting the in-market buyers as successfully as we are we softening ourselves to where when you have to go to work, are you prepared? Couldn't agree with you more.
Eric, I have seen your numbers, and we're not going to publish your numbers here, but you've shown them to me. I mean, you're doing some exceptional numbers. Number one e-dealer group in the country. And that's some pretty big shoes. You know, it's all technology driven. I've watched, but you're process driven. I have a saying in my courses: average people with great processes can have incredible results.
Amen.
We
agree with that. Yeah.
You know, all the dealers want to hire that superstar that's going to save them. And the superstar is temperamental. He or she brings in their own crew. They disrupt everything, and then they leave and take their crew with them, and everything is disrupted when the new one comes in.
Correct, because they did not have the process built that is sustainable without the individual. Our truth is nothing and no one is greater than the singular mission of the operation.
I love it. That's what I've been teaching for 30 years.
Yeah.
The process rules.
We probably stole it from you, Jim.
It doesn't matter who you got it from. I was in a dealership one time in Hendersonville, North Carolina, Mayberry, and we hired a sales manager from a big Ford dealership in Charlotte. And he said, wait till you see the way we pencil deals where I came from. And he started penciling. I said, that is phenomenal. I've never seen anything as good as that. That is great. He said, yeah, I thought you'd like it. I said, now you realize we're not going to do that here.
Right.
He said, but you said it was good. I said, if we change the process, we will vote on it at top management, and we will train on it. And we will not surprise the salespeople with a new process until we have already incorporated it correctly.
Yeah.
We might do that pencil, but only after we've studied it, talked about it, trained on it, and nobody disrupts the process. You adapt to the process that's here. You don't bring your process with you.
Right. Yeah. We have a theory, Jim, that you can appreciate a group of our size and the number of companies that we have. We are constantly piloting a number of different things, always testing them. We're looking to break them. It's kind of like fashioning a race car, right? You're looking to be able to shave the corner just a little bit to get more speed, whatever the case may be. We have a theory called bullets to cannonballs. It's taken from a Jim Collins book. And essentially it says that bullets are pennies and cannonballs are dollars. Okay? So when you align your target, when you talk about a process, when you talk about a shift, we have to be able to avoid the word change. Everybody runs from change. Change is bad, right? Not true. But you fire a bullet. If you miss the target, realign your scope and so on and so on. When you hit 1, 2, 3 over and over again, then it's time to release the cannonball. Then it's time to go all in with the full team, the full store, the full region, the full operation, whatever the case may be. And when it's done, going back to your question about what is management driven, it is a piercing clarity, Jim, that gives us the ability to say, full region, the full operation, whatever the case may be, no thank you. Done. Going back to your question about what is fit our model.
Mm-hmm. Had a little technical glitch there for a second. You back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I blipped for a second. So your model basically is sustainable over all the franchises?
Yes. Jim, we are looking through now the performance of all of our operations through what was 2017 in relation to what is the OEM Tier 1 President's Club equivalent. Thus far, numbers in, we're already at just over 40% of the stores. The others are typically number 1, number 2 in their region. I say that not to be braggadocious, but I say that to you because that is the reflection of years, absolute years of month over month, quarter over quarter disciplines that say it is not about chasing the market. It's about building continued sustainable growth, clonable and repeatable month over month over month.
Exactly. Eric, move a little bit to your right. You're jumping out of the screen a little bit on us here. There you go. Back in the center.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. You're such a pretty man. I don't want you to be half seen, you know?
Jim, I wore my Ward Cleaver blue for you today, so it just...
Yeah, you look like Ward Cleaver. I keep looking for June and the Beaver and Wally to show up anytime, you know? You got that all-American boy look. So... okay, let's see who we got here. Jesse James Mossop's on. Okay. And let's see. Bobby Heron. I know Hunter Swift's here. And Hunter Swift says, why can't all dealers be like Erich Gail? He gets it.
Thank you, Hunter.
Nathalie Godoy's on. Management driven. We got a pretty Gabe Levy's here. Jimmy Purdue. Brandon Morrill. We got a pretty good audience building up here. So it's kind of cool. Now tell me about what you're going to be talking about at Battle Plan. And this is your third or fourth Battle Plan. You've been a featured speaker.
Well, I think within whether it was the super conferences or the Battle Plans, this is probably at least our fifth or sixth. And so we're excited to come back, Jim. We learn. We love to give back, but we learn as much as we give. And our belief is that the blessing is in the service of teaching. So what we're going to be discussing next week is the difference between dimes and dollars. Okay, We have just talked about the fact that the market is under attack, our gross is under attack, our disciplines are either there or they are on their way or they are non-existent. And
grow or die.
Amen. So what our belief system is that when your disciplines are right, when you are aligned with your non-negotiables, Jim, which I do want to talk about after this, when you are aligned with your non-negotiables operationally within your stores, do I need to try to be all things to all people with what is, as a dealer, finite resources? I only have so much capital that I can possibly invest in a given month and have it be a profitable return. So while others are spewing dollars to try to be in all places, to do all things, only to have them fall across broken tracks in their stores, we are one who invests in the in-market buyer, supports it with an in-store process that is absolute, that every single man, woman, or family will be treated as a guest in our home from the very first connection forward. And it is because of that and all of what goes along with that inside of our process that I'm going to share how we do it. And I'm going to introduce 3 of new organizations that are supporting us that we are going to make available in 2018 to fellow dealers in the United States, Canada, and Mexico.
That's ambitious. That's extremely ambitious.
We don't have courage issues, Jim.
No, I have seen that. I mean, you have stepped up to the plate and pointed to the center field fence. I mean, you're right there. Okay, now you wanted to talk about something else. What was it?
Non-negotiables.
Okay, let's get on to it.
So when you think about what is the core of a management-driven philosophy, okay, it says that I don't care what direction the market is going. What I care about as a collective, this is not just a the emperor smashes his hand down and says so. It's understood by leadership because we are one team moving in one direction. But once we've made the decision, this is no longer a subjectivity. The non-negotiables in our organization are 4. First and foremost, at every level of the organization, the CRM, period. If you're not in it, own it, purify it, understand it, lead from it, serve from it, then you are out of alignment with our beliefs. The second is phone skills training, absolute, tested, verified, consistently over and over and over again, with all of the investments that we continue to make to drive opportunities in live consumers, phone calls, form fills, chats, whatever the case may be. We are burning our money if we are not equipped to be able to serve at that zero moment. The third is our capital management software. I will say, Jim, with your permission, we use Viato, but whatever one's preference is, you must be disciplined in how you manage your money inside your used car operations. And the fourth that ties it all together for us is really what allowed us to create Zmont, and that is called zero moment retail. It is the understanding that as an investor, I invest my money specifically to where the buyers are, and we use technology to our advantage to be able to cull the herd between people that are in their consideration or stimulus phase and are at the moment where I want what I want, give me what I want, and give it to me right now. That is the world that we live in as buyers. When I've reached that point and I touch this button, I expect immediate action. Give me what I want. And so that's where we invest our dollars, a lot of which I'm going to talk about at Internet Battle Plan. The difference between, and let's use a quick NADA stat from 2017, the average dollars invested as a divisible of your total budget in marketing and advertising, 2 units sold is about $650, $660. We want to be a third of that, and some of our stores, Jim, are much lower, and I would argue that maybe they're too low. Okay.
Are you telling me that you are marketing at at an advertising marketing cost of $200 per unit or thereabouts.
Between 200 and 300, and we have a few stores that are around 185. And I will disclose to you all on this live broadcast that while that is hyper performance at full ROI, it may be that we are running it too lean. Full disclosure, we may be running those too lean. I mean, our processes are on point, but I would say that that is something that I'm mindful of.
Interesting. Well, let's break down everything you just said.
Okay.
You started out with CRM. Now, I coined a phrase here a couple of years back that's taken off across the industry. I said, marry your CRM.
Yeah.
And that phrase is, I'm hearing it come back to me all over the place. And what I meant by that is I went into a dealership in Barrington, Illinois called Motorworks.
Yeah, I know them. Sure.
You know, and Motorworks sells 500 Highlines a month. I mean, we're talking Mercedes, Porsche. We're talking about every Highline brand under one roof. Their showroom is like a football field.
Yeah.
And it's segmented out into Mercedes, Porsche, you know, right on down the line. So Paul Tamras, who was the dealer at the time, brought me in there, him and Jim Hub. And I looked at the operation and I said, my God, you guys are doing $4,500 a unit. You're selling 500 units a month. How can you improve this? And when I did two things with them that increased them over $1 million annually immediately. One of those things was to define their processes.
Right.
How do you sell cars? I got every manager. How do you sell cars?
Yeah.
Oh, we try to get people to drive. We do it. Wait, no, exactly how do you sell cars?
Right.
But the second thing was I asked the managers in a meeting, do you have people that are exempt from using the CRM? Do you have people that barely get the customer's name in the CRM and you make excuses for them?
Yeah.
So what we did is by management agreement coming from Tamraz and Hub and the top management, we legislated the CRM, mandated it. If you can't do the CRM, you can't stay here.
Right.
And I mean, and we took out everything in the CRM that we didn't use.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of junk in there that the geeks at the CRM company think we need that we don't. So we took out everything that we're not going to use, where it was just a raw basic CRM they really did use. And once we had that, nobody's exempt. Well, that's old Joe. Old Joe Joe can't stay here.
Right.
Well, Joe's going to run the CRM, or he can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, it is Jim, in the absence of process, there is no process. Okay. And we have to reach the point, and I would say the high performing retailers around the country reached this point a long time ago. They, like many others, they made the specific decision to say, I will not wake up one day being subjected to the ill wills or the lack of process or discipline that existed years before that is now raining down upon me. Okay. My point to that is that you have to have the courage to define the line and say, this is what we do every single day. It starts and ends inside the CRM. And if you can't do it, listen, we love you. We're okay with can't do it. You just have to go do that somewhere else.
Can't do it, 100% acceptable, just not here.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't be here. You know, and you don't have to fire a bunch of people. I mean, people think, would you fire them? No, you don't fire a lot of people. You have to fire one.
Right. Yeah.
You know, Festus Hagen on Gunsmoke. You remember Festus?
Yes.
Festus said, Matthew, did you ever notice the town gets real quiet after a hanging?
Right. Yeah, I think it was. There was another quote that said, "A hanging every once in a while is good for morale." But, I have to comment about the CRM just real quick. The CRM, when you consider what it is, what it does, the fact that there are still a number of dealers that don't know the name of their CRM. Someone made the choice based on a price that fit into a box, right? And the problem is They put their entire operation on the back of a system that is not functional for them. And what I would say is that if you're leading a 30, 40, 50, 100, $150 million enterprise as a single store, multiply that out when you own more, and you are going to be crippled over a couple $1,000s a month investment that drives all of your opportunities, okay? I would call that into question, shine the light on that. I recognize that CRM and DMS changes are like a continuous root canal to get them done. But when they're done, and it's the way it must be, you live it, you love it, you own it. The highest performing retailers with senior leadership is in that CRM every single day.
Every day, without exception. The CRM, to me, rules the dealership. I use CRM in my little company.
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote a book, The Prosperity Equation. It did quite well back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And in that book, I said the most powerful people on earth are those people that influence the most other people.
Right.
And CRM gives you the ability to do high productivity per individual.
Yes.
And I am a productivity master. I teach productivity, and people like yourself are practicing productivity.
Right.
You know, you've amplified the individual's productivity. It's become a team effort to do productivity, and CRM gives you the ability to manage multiple projects at the same time.
Yes. With the individuality and the customization to be able to have a conversation with someone that picks up right where they are. There's no one's memory is possibly that good. Right?
No.
Now, we talked earlier, Jim, while we're still on the CRM non-negotiable, we talked about technology. We talked about the advances. We talked about how it is that we target in-market buyers. People are constantly looking for all these myriad of attribution sources. I can't tell if my investments are performing, if my marketing's working. And you start asking some basic questions. Do your opportunities that you've invested in come in sourced properly? Well, I don't know what that means. Okay, well, let's assume the answer is no. How many inbound phone calls do you get in a given month based on the investments that you give? I don't know. We use the copper line. I mean, all of these things are us giving away the insights that help us to lead our business, okay? You have to have tracking numbers. You have to have them down by source. You have to have your partners provide sourcing inside the opportunities that come from them. One of the absolute non-negotiables for us inside of any partner relationship, even for the companies that we own, is that we will be the one to provide the target telephone number. We as the dealer will be the one to provide the target telephone number so that we can track it properly. Other people want to be able to put their phone number out there and do all this other kind of stuff. That's not going to work for us. Okay.
No, but you are sourcing everything. You're tracking everything. We talk about how much data mining are you doing? How much equity mining are you doing?
We have built our own internal proprietary systems that look at that opportunity for us. It's been an exchange program in our operations for years. And what we are looking for in real time through a provisioning software that we built, which is really, to be quite honest, it's quite basic. It looks individually per store. What are we selling the fastest of at the highest gross with the shortest turn? And then we go through our systems and we go look for people that own merchandise like that. And we offer them a free appraisal appointment as well as an offer to want to buy their car. There's a myriad of
Eric, you're drifting to your left again. Let's move back. There you go.
I'm on wheels, Jim. Sometimes I get excited. I start rolling out of the screen.
Well, I'm going to keep you in the center of the screen here. The lamp behind you looks nice, but you're the star. Okay, we talked about CRM, we talked about processes. And the reason I brought up data mining and equity mining, which by the way are two different things. People they confuse data mining with equity mining. And equity mining is only a portion of data mining. one thing I have found out recently, 2 years, is that most dealers have 20, 30, 40,000 dead leads in their CRM that nobody's working.
Correct.
I mean, they didn't sell them, they retired them, and those are still living, breathing human beings that live in their market.
Yeah.
And I'm having to convince dealers to do retro advertising. See, we spend a fortune in the car business advertising for strangers and no retro advertising aimed backwards to people we already have.
Jim, I love that you mentioned that, because that falls in exact alignment with what we're going to share at Internet Battle Plan. We have developed internally for ourselves, and soon to be available outside of our competing market areas, we have developed the ability for us to do a number of things with our own active data as dealers inside our CRMs, okay? A few examples would be, number one, if we have 30,000 dusty, old, tired, untouched, would have been opportunities, the question is, what information do we really have? First name Jim, last name Dot, email at something, right? And a phone number, okay? Well, why don't we go through and scrub, match, update the address, update the telephone number, update the email address, find out what the individual owns, where are they currently within their purchase cycle, and do that throughout the entirety of the CRM. Now you have a well-equipped weapon in which to go back and have your teams not on the hope plan, on the targeted plan, to be able to identify these people are in market for this type of unit. We want what they own, and let's begin that process. That's a small sampling, Jim, of what we're going to share at Internet Battle Plan.
Well, what I love is you mentioned phone skills.
Yeah.
You know, people don't get the car business. We've lost salesmanship, salespersonship. We have lost the ability to sell. It's almost become a dirty word. There's a bunch of snowflakes out there right now that, we don't want to persuade the people. No, excuse me. I started out teaching Dale Carnegie 35 years ago, and I am into scientific sales, and sales is persuasion and finesse.
Right.
But you still have to be able to persuade. Now, do you have small children?
3 boys, 13, 10, and 9. 9.
Christmas 2 months ago, did he work you?
Oh, buddy, worked me like a...
Did he win?
2-3 months. Of course.
I mean, he's a better salesman than you are.
Oh, yeah. There's no question about it.
If I want to get a dealership to sell 300 units and they're currently selling 100 units, I'll hire a bunch of 9-year-olds and kick ass, because they don't take no for an answer, right? They sell, they regroup, they present an argument, they overcome objections. I mean, they come back, they close again. I mean, kids are the greatest example of salespeople, especially a little girl.
Yeah. You know, Jim, I think what it comes down to is the philosophical understanding that I believe in what we're doing. This is why this is why really high-performing sales professionals are so good, is because they believe, good, bad, or indifferent, they believe in everything that they're providing, why they want it, what they want to do for you, right? And so if I believe truly in my core that as a woman, as a man, a woman, or or family inside of our stores, if I believe the products that we provide, the service that we provide, the care that we will give you, the fact that you're here to finish what you've already started online, okay? If I really believe in that, there is absolutely no reason ever why I have not earned and deserved the right to have your business, period.
Amazing. Well, let me do a little commercial here for a second, if you don't mind.
Please.
Internet Battle Plan 23, coming to Clearwater Beach, Florida, the Marriott Sand Key Suites. It's next week. It's a week from yesterday. 6 more days till battle plan. I mean, it's incredible. It's Teach at the Beach, #3, the winter conference. I shortened the price to $595, and we are truthfully sold out. I've got very few seats left. As a matter of fact, the hotel's sold out. It's incredible. They're telling us the fire marshal, this, that, and the other. I mean, it's incredible, but I have seats left. If you go to the website, internetbattleplan.com, Bobby Heron, I know you're out there. Would you please put on the sidebar www.internetbattleplan.com if you put that in the notes. Internetbattleplan.com. I've got a couple seats left, and I'm not doing a takeaway close right now. We have a couple of seats left. That's a true statement. And I want to see this thing filled up. Dealer principals, general managers, no charge. I lowered the price to $595. And if you have a problem, you can call me. My number is 352-775-2174. And Eric will tell you I answer my own phone. And
he does.
I do. I mean, come on. You know, through the years, I did a speech last week with 500 people in the audience. And I walked in through the front of the room, not through the back of the stage.
Right.
I have been a national figure in this business for 35 years, and I have always vowed to be accessible, always vowed to be one of the people I'm speaking with.
Right.
You know, I'm not up there where I come in through the back of the stage and leave through the back of the stage and Elvis has left the building. You know, it's nothing like that. Okay, that was the commercial. Internet Battle Plan coming up quickly. It's going to be 20 speakers, not like Eric. I got nothing like Eric, but the 20 top experts. Phone skills, we got phone skills. CRM, we got CRM. I mean, we got every aspect of internet sales, marketing, technology marketing, sales skills, website conversion, all of it. Eric, tell me some more about ZMOT, the 0 moment of truth.
The 0 moment of truth essentially says that there are characteristic elements that we as buyers. Now, I want to just quickly back up and say, I think the men and women at Google are fairly smart. Would you agree?
I would hope so, yeah.
In 2000,
when I spoke at the Google conference, though.
In 2011, they released an entire study supported by reams of data and science and everything that they do. And they introduced the 0 moment of truth, which essentially says that I pass through gates as I'm moving toward a purchase, as a human being, as a buyer. And when I reach that 0 moment, it is what I want right now. And I posture myself in a very characteristic fashion, okay? They went as far as to be able to create a study for automotive, okay? I think for the vast majority of us in the dealer leadership world, we missed that, okay? We studied it in 2011 and in 2012, Jim, and we created our own integration, our own understanding of saying, we're not going to start swimming so far up the stream and trying to be all things to all people. We have limited capital resources. We're going to target the individual buyer at the moment that they are ready now. In order to do that, Jim, we started integrating everything that we do. Our paid, organic, social, video, reputation, supporting elements of our site, reconstructed our websites to be highly converting, focused on our merchandising and our descriptions, everything to serve that moment, okay? So ZMOT was born, Jim, in 2013. Now think about this, 2 years after they released that, and we, as an automotive group headquartered on the Monterey Peninsula in California, are able to go and acquire that name based on that size with their blessing. And so ZMOT has been a wonderful, amazing extension of how we do business, how we integrate and how we manage our investments, and most importantly, how we hold accountability to the performance that's required in our stores. See, Jim, we built this because it didn't exist. Where was someone who lives what we do every day as a dealer so that it's no longer theory? Where was someone who would teach and guide us exactly how to do it, proving the model that they do it every single day, but have then the people that would hold us accountable inside our stores, performance leadership, investment leadership, right? So we created it for ourselves, and ultimately we took it to our dealer partners and dealer friends throughout the US and Canada. It's been an amazing experience, Jim, and one that we are not interested in being all things to all people. We unfortunately have to say no more than we say yes. And the reason I say that is because we're looking for those leaders that have the courage to say, I don't have all the answers. I don't know what I don't know. But what I want is to be better, great, 1 mile an hour faster every single day. And I am not afraid to do whatever it takes to get it.
I love that. Erich, if you were to tell a dealer right now what they're going to need to do to grow their dealership, what would be your number one point? What's the number one change in process, attitude? What's the biggest project, priority that people have?
It's twofold, Jim. I always believe in the duality of the investment versus the performance. So let's firstly look at the investment. I would crawl through the statement, and if I cannot match up a tangible return to the capital that I'm investing, it immediately has to go under review, period. There's a reason that I say that, because when you look at, let's use the 100-car store math. If you look at, call it $650 per unit, 100 cars, $65,000 a month. My truth is I could take a flamethrower to that, get it down to 25,000 and do 90 or 100 units, okay? My point being, free up your capital. That's one, okay? Secondly, in store, the one thing would be to define from the sales and service and parts and body repair, you have to define what is the objectives of the day broken down into a single statement. For example, if I am a sales associate, what is my expectation today and every single day that I come in? The reason for that, Jim, is it gives you a very specific, clonable, measurable, repeatable process. For example, if I know that I'm going to be here for 12 hours today, 10 hours, whatever the case may be, and I have to make X number of phone calls, have X number of conversations with a live individual, set a certain number of appointments, or my day is not complete, then now I, as the leader, be it departmental leader, store leader, senior executive, whatever the case may be, now it's just math. If everyone has to accomplish these things, let's use easy math, Jim, and say it's one appointment, and I have 10 people on today. We're creating today, not for today, but creating 10 appointments every single day. Jim, I apologize just real quick. I have a power source challenge.
Uh-oh. Well, that's okay. While you do that, I'll make some announcements. Take your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, guys. Erich's getting that all straightened out. Get on the screen here. I am a featured speaker at Digital Dealer. That's going to be April 10th, Orlando. I got a call from Melissa. What a sweetheart she is. I get a call from Melissa. You know, I don't apply for conferences. They apply to me. I got a call from Melissa, and she said, would you speak at Digital Dealer? Of course I will. I'm the opening speaker, not the same thing as the keynote speaker, but I'm the opening session, 9 o'clock Monday morning, big stage. And I'm speaking on a subject I think a lot of people are going to want to hear. My presentation at Digital Dealer, April 10th. So you want to be a general sales manager, just what makes you think you're qualified? You know, so many people want to be a general sales manager. That is the first executive position in the chain of management in a car dealership. And I got so many people who are desk managers that think they are general sales managers. There are a whole other bunch of skill sets to be a general sales manager. And if you're not qualified, you just can't step into that position. And if you want to get ahead in the car business, a lot of people, it's okay to be a salesperson. That's an honorable profession. If you want to stay there forever, you're going to make good money, wonderful. But if you have ambition to be in management and to move up the chain to dealer, general manager, whatever your goal, general sales manager on the variable side is the first executive position. And you've got it, and I'm going to talk about that at Digital Dealer April 10th. So you think you want to be a general sales manager, just what the hell makes you think you're qualified?
Right.
So many non-qualified people out there trying to be general sales managers. And I'm going to talk about step by step, brick by brick. I'm going to show you how to qualify yourself to be able to apply to be a general sales manager. And Eric, I see you're back. You got your power supply under control?
Yeah, I did. I know, shocking. Shocking that that's the case. All right. So I love exactly where you're going, Jim. What you mentioned about the general sales manager being the first rung into executive management is the understanding that desk in a deal and leading a sales team is not the same as being the senior leader of the sales operation as a whole. People love to be able to fall back on the fact that the general manager will do it. The general manager is responsible for the entirety of the operation, every moving piece and part, and everything within the shadows distance of the store. Okay? To be the general sales manager is to accept the accountability and the responsibility to lead the entirety of the sales operation, and that is a giant responsibility requiring an enormous amount of savvy and brilliance and humility and courage and strength. Love that you're doing that.
I've got a lot of those traits. Humility escaped me.
I'm sorry?
I said I've got most of those traits, but humility sort of escaped me.
I think you took my camera off, Jim. Do you have to put me back on?
Oh, I do. I'm sorry. Yeah, I took your camera off when you get your power. There you are. Blue shirt. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, humility, humble is a word very seldom used to describe me.
There is a strength in humility, Jim, and one that I think over many years I've found that there's great courage in that, and it's something we try to be very mindful of every day.
Well, I know that, and I was making that comparison.
No, I know. I believe me. I agree. I sometimes ask myself, "Hey, I'm humble. I'm cuddly." And people are like, really?
There was a Burt Reynolds movie called Hooper where he was trying to recreate the Smokey and the Bandit role with another name.
They jumped the bridge with the rocket. Yeah.
Yeah, he jumped the bridge with the rocket. And in that movie, Hooper, Terry Bradshaw was a bar thug in that movie. He played the part.
Remember.
And Terry Bradshaw says, "What do you do?" And Burt Reynolds says, "I show off." And I love that. So because I can definitely relate to that.
Sure.
That's why I get such a thrill out of our relationship, because you and I are so much on the same song sheet. This is what I've been teaching for years, the organizational skills. I've got a reputation for growing dealerships to the big numbers, but that's one at a time. And does it last? Because as soon as management changes with no authority there to keep it going, it evaporates.
Right.
And you have the luxury and ability to be are you the COO? What is your title?
It's CEO.
The CEO. You're the chief executive officer of your company, so you can enforce process, which when I was a general sales manager in a large dealership, I had that luxury. But dealers have got to take control of their companies.
Right.
Dealers have got to take control. They've got to enforce their processes, because it's going to come raining down on some of these people.
Jim, there's no empty chair in the level of responsibility and accountability that we have as leaders. When, it's not if, when the challenge presents itself, you are either prepared or you are not. And when you describe things like processes that have been seeded beautifully, we've gone through, you build greatness, and something changes at the store leadership level, and if it goes away, then it wasn't really supported. It didn't really grow. It didn't really seed itself. And my point to that is the responsibility of leadership, regardless of whether your name's on the building or not. If it must be, and you believe in it, and it is your responsibility to ensure that every single day your operation is growing and providing for the men and women and families that you serve and support, then it is a non-negotiable, and it must be from leadership and ownership all the way through the organization.
Well, I got to tell you one thing. I've got you slotted to speak, closing out the first day.
Yes, thank you.
And I gave you an extra 15 minutes because you've got a lot of material to present. But so you're just before the band and the cocktail reception. And one thing, we've got one heck of a band and one heck of a cocktail reception with hors d'oeuvres and drinks. I mean, kick-ass band, the band Foreplay.
Right.
And brought to you by the folks at Dealer Teamwork. Dealer Teamwork stepped up. They wrote a big check. And they bought the cocktail party sponsorship, and I hope everybody realizes what a commitment they made there. Erich, it's really good to visit with you. We could probably talk for hours more, but we're running down to the end of this thing. We got about 5-6 minutes left. What would you like to talk about?
Jim, I guess the thing that I would encourage of people who, while there's still seats left, okay, I would encourage them to have the desire to want to be great. Look over your operation, close the door, and have the courage to have a conversation where it isn't about being right or wrong. It's about being successful, okay? Look through your operation. Find the areas that you do not know how to do those things. Align yourself with great people. Book your ticket, get on an airplane, and get to Florida next week, where you can learn firsthand from a collective, I think, an amazing lineup of experts. So I think what I'd like to talk about is really just the call to action that we have as the men and women who lead dealerships in the United States is to the areas that we need to go focus on. We touched on a lot of them today, Jim. We touched on the need for you to be actively involved, to hold the line of accountability in your CRM. You have to have the men and women that train, guide, speak, consult, and serve those on the telephone. They need to be masterful because they are caring for your investment and they are providing for your opportunities. You need to be brilliant inside the sales operation, managing our money. We talked about capital management. We need to talk about used cars. Used cars is always going to be an opportunity for us to put our brand at the intersection point of men and women, regardless of income, to put ourselves in a position to be able to serve them and welcome them inside our family and grow them in through a relationship that will have many, many, many transactions to it. And lastly, you have to be able to integrate and align your investments. You have to have the courage to say, if I invest X amount of capital, it's not a cost, it's an investment. If I invest, what am I prepared to do, okay, to bring all that together? So I just want to be encouraging and inspiring to our fellow men and women, the dealers on the line, to just dig down deep and have the courage to be great.
Number one e-dealer in the country. Number one e-dealer group in the world, the universe, actually. If they're selling cars on other planets, you're kicking their ass. I'm telling you right now. The number one e-dealer in probably in history. I mean, you're doing such great numbers. I mean, you are a technology-based sales company. I mean, is that a fair statement?
It is, Jim. We are a high transactional multi-franchise retailer, but really with the understanding that we finally decided we weren't going to be subject to anymore. We put our investments in our hands and we built them to go and actually focus on the in-market buyer. The reason why that's important, Jim, and why you talk about the incredible numbers that we're able to achieve is from one very clear understanding. Philosophically, one of our non-negotiables is zero moment retail. We know every phone call, every form fill, every chat, and every live man, woman, or family that we're serving is a buyer right now, for the reasons that that's the people that we've targeted. We are not one that does anything other than serve, support, and sell our time to be of service to them. Every single person we engage with, not because a book told us to, but because we invested to acquire and target the actual in-market buyer. So every single person that we engage is a buyer. That's our mindset. That's our belief. That's what we invest in, and that's what we've created unfair advantages from.
You know, you're swimming in a sea of opportunities. You know, young salesmen ask me, Jim, where do I find customers? Well, try the interstate at 5 o'clock. They're out there bumper to bumper. You know, you're swimming in a sea of opportunities. I can sell a car anywhere.
Right.
I'll tell you what, if you go on Google right now and you put in my name, Jim Ziegler, and you put in the name Mike Richards, there's a speech where Mike Richards, who is a former vice president of Ford, and when he saw me walk out in the rain with an umbrella and knock on a guy's window at a red light and deliver him a car. Yeah. That video is on YouTube, and you can put in Mike Richards and Jim Ziegler, and he'll listen to him tell the story about how I grabbed an umbrella and went out in the middle of the intersection in the pouring rain and tapped on a guy's window at a red light and sold him a car, delivered it. And I've done similar things. I wish our people understood there's no shortage of buyers. You pass them in the supermarket every day. And technology has allowed us, especially social media.
Yeah.
I mean, this is 3 billion people, 3.8, 3 billion people. Facebook, 38% of them are U.S. adults.
Right.
I mean, and they stay on here for a long time. We have Jason Gardner. Have you heard of that young man?
Yes.
Jason Gardner from Jacoby speaking about Facebook marketing.
Yeah.
And he's got some really unique things he's doing, converting Facebook to text.
Sure.
I ask people all the time, how many unanswered emails are in your email box? And people say, well, I got 50, 20, 30. How many unanswered texts?
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly.
So texting has priority. People don't prioritize email anymore.
Right. If we're close enough for you to send me a text message, it's highly likely that will get the more immediate eyes, answer, response, engagement, whatever the case may be. Couldn't agree with that more. Absolutely love that.
We got, Timmy James?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a character.
Hey, when was the last time you saw him? He is the incredible shrinking man, by the way. Have you seen him lately?
Oh, he's withering away to nothing.
Yeah.
He's pissing me off because, I have my weight challenges, and somebody the other day said, Ziegler, you're out of shape. I said, no, pear is a shape.
I'm going to steal that one from you.
I'm not out of shape at all. But, Timmy James, Flick Fusion, he's going to be showing you some video magic. And let's face it, video, what we're doing right now is four-dimensional. It shows the humanity of you and me, the humor, the personalities, I throw out a bunch of tongue-in-cheek things, and it's so funny. I spoke to the international session at NADA 4 years ago, last time I spoke.
Right.
And one thing I found out is humor doesn't translate.
You dropped a joke and you had what? Crickets in the audience?
I did one for the French delegation, and had an interpreter, a little lady with a shawl. And I'm telling the funniest ass joke. I'm cracking myself up. And they go, unbelievable. Erich, this has been a great. I have a personality thing that says Erich and I we mesh. I wish we had more time, but and last words, Erich. What do you want to say?
Jim, just the very best to you and your beautiful bride, Debbie. Thank you so much for your time. We love your live broadcasts. Love your passion. Look forward to seeing you next week. I hope that that together that we've inspired those that may have been, thinking about going to now picking up the phone and calling you and buying tickets. I look forward to seeing you next week, Jim, and always thank you so much.
Bye-bye, big guy.